as that right shoulder starts to move more forwards, of course, if you're moving the shoulder more forwards, we now have the opportunity to balance ourselves out, which puts you more into your heels of your feet, which now starts to balance you out. Now as I start to move down through from there, I can now get myself in a place that shifts the path a little bit straighter. Had a fantastic client yesterday come and see me, Damien, who inspired this lesson today. He had a perfect grip. It was so good to see someone that had used my content to apply the grip in the right manner. But Damien, even though the grip was great, as he was hitting shots, he was still able to get the ball out and down the right-hand side. He had been a golfer that for a long time had worked the club from the inside, trying to hope to get that ball to draw back. Even though the grip was in a great position, the face-to-path value at 3.4 open really compromised his ability to draw the golf ball. Now, if you have been someone that has tried to draw the golf ball for a long time, you're going to need this drill that I'm going to share with you today. I used it in a video with Keith, a YouTube channel subscriber that came and saw me as well. And it's really about fixing the left side, fixing the left shoulder, fixing the left arm, and making this forearm rotation occur without compromising the face angle or flipping the club face. I get a lot of people out there that are now starting to make some comments that are trying to goad me into directions of instruction that they believe in, and I just don't engage. I just say thanks for sharing your thoughts. So this one today is really about making sure that this left shoulder allows this right side to stay high enough. And I've spoken about it at great length over many, many videos, but I think it's important to reiterate the importance of the left shoulder, left arm, and how that's going to affect the length of your right arm and the height of the club head into the golf ball. So in Damien's case, the handle was high, the club head was a long way back of the handle, and in many cases people would think, well, if the club head was a long way back of the handle, that must surely mean you're going to hit yourself a draw. You can equally hit as big a shank as you've ever seen, because you've got that club head so far back, the brain is thinking that, well, if the club head is a long way back and I've moved my handle inside out, I need to keep going inside out to meet the golf ball. And unfortunately, offsetting that, moving that movement back to neutral can be quite tricky. It's not easy. So I've got a great drill here that's going to really change that. And as I say, I used it in a video that you can see up there that I used with Keith. Now, placing your left hand on the golf club is crucial. We're going to do that by doing the old press up-a-roo. We're going to get that hand on the top of the golf club, get that pressure, so that when you put that golf club on your hand there, you can close your fingers on, and there's that pressure. So I've got my left hand in great placement, and then I'm going to take my trail hand and pop it just below the grip, fingertips only. And I'm going to set myself in my posture. So imagine that's me gripping it with my left hand and right hand in a normal place. In my posture, I lift the golf club up and put it parallel with the floor. And now what I'm going to do is going to make some backswings. And when I make some backswings, because as I move the hand further down the golf club, the more you'll see that shaft pitch around me. And it's really quite overwhelming. But let's just start with the fingertips grabbing the shaft just below the grip here. And start to make some half back swings and half through swings where you feel that that left hand simply doesn't change its orientation relative to the shoulder. So I move the golf club back, but what I'm now going to do is start to change the aspect of my right arm, the external or internal nature of that right arm, to start to set the shaft. Now, as I start to move down, if I've kept my hand underneath the shoulder, Now if my right arm stays back too much, can you see how it makes the face a long way inside and open? Now what I want to do is start to make that right arm lengthen, not tuck garbage. Right arm lengthen and move the golf club around me. And at this point, when I start to finish, I'm really still feeling the contact between the left tricep. The right arm is low and below my right shoulder and left shoulder, so it's running across my chest. But because I've kept the shape in my wrist angle, the pressure on the grip, can you see this over here? The face angle is not turned down. So even though I'm making my forearms rotate, which is absolutely crucial in a through swing and in a backswing, of course, it allows me to still rotate the shaft around my body and keep the face in good order. If I was to now put that into a golf shot, now you can see the similarities with that finish and the orientation of the path and the face to path. Now, depending on how much your right shoulder moves in your downswing, depending on how much you feel your right shoulder move forwards in your downswing, will ultimately stabilize what's going on through your feet. So if I bring these wedges in here, and I had a cracking little message from Craig on my skill list. I do some remote coaching. If you want to grab a lesson with me remotely, you can't get yourself down here at Precision Golf in Surrey in the UK, and you want to have a little session with me, go check me out on Skillist. Craig sent me a great picture of him with his Good Golf Coaching starter pack, and it was the golf grip and some wedges. Well, maybe in the future I'll start putting a training kit together. Loads to come in 2025. So now what we want to appreciate here is that as that right shoulder starts to move more forwards, of course, if you're moving the shoulder more forwards, we now have the opportunity to balance ourselves out. So in Damien's case, because he had been so much from the inside and the club had been so much back, all of a sudden, he needs to put pressure onto the toes of his feet to get that club out to the golf ball. Even though it was open, his agenda was still to get the club on ball. And so when he was hitting shots and it was so inside, as he would hit the golf ball, he would really fall on the toes of his feet. So when you're moving around the golf ball, the more that we move this handle out and the shoulder moves forwards, because I'm really getting this right side to work around, I need to make sure that the pressures in my feet stay more back in general. Yes, I need to go into the toe of the left foot. Yes, I need to go into the heel of the left foot on the way down. But if you're making a change from being too inside and getting that path too much from the in or even an open face, and again, TrackMan only reads the sweet spot, folks. So even though you might be coming across it, if you've moved your handle from this orientation to this orientation through strike, TrackMan might say that you're still coming across it. But let me tell you, this is still creating inside of the handle. Tough one to understand if you're an amateur golfer and you've not worked ridiculous amounts with golf coaching and ridiculous amounts on TrackMan, and you understand it from an engineering perspective and physics perspective as well. So I don't mean to be disparaging there, but when I get people telling me about not using your right side, no pressure on the ball, and all this nonsense, it's just honestly, coming from like 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 handicappers that are not golf coaches, it's like, imagine me going into the operating theatre and I've read a couple of books on how to do heart surgery and then start telling the physician that, what you're doing there is not quite right, pal. Nonsense, absolute nonsense. Anyway, get off your soapbox, Stuart. So the handle and the shoulder moving more forwards will then start to sense the ability for you to now start to sit more into your glute line, which now starts to pull you more into forward flexion. So with this drill that's going to start to back off that left shoulder and make your right arm move more across your body, allows the handle to move more forwards, which puts you more into your heels of your feet, which now starts to balance you out. Now as I start to move down through from there, I can now get myself in a place that shifts the path a little bit straighter. So this pressure through the feet in combination with how that right side is working forwards is absolutely, absolutely crucial, because it's just a balancing act always from above the belt line and below the belt line. Right shoulder, handle, which is exactly the same as what I'm doing here. Can you see how the right shoulder is working forwards? Look how the handle is sitting down, which is making the club arc back in. Yes, I've moved the handle higher, but that's to get it from not coming inside. Fundamentally, the shoulder, when I'm doing this drill, will feel like the shoulder's coming much higher than you're used to. So I need you to understand that the right shoulder's working around, the pressure's working into the feet, and that right arm is getting longer. If the right arm is getting longer and it's pushing the club head out, I need to have more pressure in my heels. Can you see how it would shift the path from being way outside to now approaching from the inside? I've kept everything the same. Your body will balance up what your arms are not giving you. So I can really start to feel into the heels because I can feel the right shoulder coming around, which will allow me to line everything up. It's a very, very simple equation, but it's understanding the balancing act that goes on between the upper body and the lower body. So in Damien's case, we really got him feeling how this right side can move around after he's got himself that really, really great grip, which was fantastic to see. Get his left arm sitting down more because he had been a guy that had been so inside out. As the right side now works around more, he could then start to feel like he could sit more into his heels of his feet, so he could get the handle tracking down and around, as opposed to inside on his toes and out. Completely different patterns of movement there. So get that drill, get the shaft parallel to the floor, start to understand how you need to want to feel a bit more into your toes, heels of your feet as well. Get that left hand down, get the shaft working around, and so that left arm can sit down, that right arm can sit across you. I've still got loft in the golf club because of the pressure of the left wrist there, and let's give it a go. And so hopefully you'll really start to see a really positive impact on your golf shots here when you start to sense that handle lower, that right arm a bit.
If you're tired of paying too much for your premium leather golf gloves, head over to gxgolfgloves.com. These are gloves trusted by tour players and elite amateurs alike. Use my code GOODCOACHING to receive 10% off your next order. Go try them out. You won't be disappointed.
More across your chest, and you might just start hitting some cheeky little draws down the target line. Hopefully that's been insightful. I'm really enjoying this YouTube journey, and I'm really grateful that you're here to come along for the ride too. If you've enjoyed that, do consider subscribing, and that, my friends, you've guessed it, is good coaching.